All right, everybody, what is going on? Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well on this Tuesday. And we've got a little bit of a scheduling update here, got a little bit of a modification to the planned schedule of HBO's Hard Knocks. And I want to talk about it a little bit and also take the opportunity to talk about Hard Knocks in general and basically just discuss what the expectations should be and how I'm going to be talking about it, because this is going to be a pretty significant part of the training camp content for this team. And also, it's a rare opportunity. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks, and I'm sure most of you know by now, but earlier today, HBO announced that Hard Knocks would be bumping up. Hard Knocks would be moving up on their premiere schedule. So the first episode of HBO's Hard Knocks, which this year, for those of you who maybe don't remember, stars the Seattle Seahawks, their training camp, is now August 4th. So they've moved things up, I think, about a week. And I believe it's still 5 episodes, so it should finish up sometime in early to mid-September. But now they'll be able to get through a little bit more of it before the season starts, which I like. I think that having Hard Knocks continue on into the regular season is kind of, I'm not crazy about that, because once the regular season starts, it's really hard to be invested in something like Hard Knocks. So I'm happy that they bumped this up a little bit to make it a little bit earlier, so that way we can get the information we need before the actual games start getting played. So Tuesday, August 4th, which is 2 weeks from today, we will be getting the first episode of Hard Knocks training camp with the Seattle Seahawks. Pretty cool, pretty interesting. So set your schedule, set your calendar, and let's talk a little bit about Hard Knocks for a second here. So first, I have a little bit of a confession to make. I've never watched a Hard Knocks all the way through. I have never actually watched Hard Knocks in a previous season. I know that they've done Hard Knocks for the Cowboys, for the Dolphins, I believe the Jets, the Bills. There have been a lot of seasons of Hard Knocks. I remember when they did it one year with the Ravens, when they had Brian Billick. But I have never actually watched a Hard Knocks season all the way through. So this is going to be my first time, because I am going to be watching this. I am going to be checking this out. It's on HBO Max, so that's easy enough to pick up. And the episodes come out every week, I believe, like I said, 5 episodes. And it'll be wrapped up right after the regular season starts. So pretty good opportunity to maybe learn some stuff about the way this team is looking. Now, one of the issues is that the stuff you see on Hard Knocks, it's always going to be a little out of date, because it takes time for them to edit the episode together and then release it. So it's not like you're going to have stuff happen at training camp at the VMAC, and then you're going to watch Hard Knocks that night, and it's going to have that stuff in it. It's going to be a delay. So you're not going to see a bunch of stuff in the episode that you see that is like brand new. There's a good chance that we'll hear about the stuff like a week before we actually get to see it on Hard Knocks. So I don't know how good it'll be in terms of like getting up to date, up to the minute information, but it'll be a new perspective, and in theory a more in-depth look at some of the things that the Seahawks might have to give us. So that's the main draw here. All right, guys, let's take a quick break here to talk a little bit about Prize Picks, currently the #1 sports pick app in America. The app is very easy to use. Check it out to my left here. You can do player picks, where you just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Or you can pick teams, where you pick winners, spread, or total on any game or fight. The app is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. Right now, they have a great offer. You can play your first $5 lineup and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you have to do is use code HMA when you sign up. It's a brand new offer, best time possible to get on the app. So get on over there and get to winning that first lineup. So remember, Prize Picks, code HMA. Download the app today, and remember to always gamble responsibly. Now, like I said, I've never actually sat through an entire Hard Knock, so I don't know exactly how the show goes. I have a general understanding of how it works. They find a handful of storylines, a handful of players with compelling narrative threads, I guess you could call it, to track throughout the process of the training camp. And they basically follow those guys along and try to build some kind of a compelling story around the pieces of the team. Now, I don't know how well it works for a team that is theoretically in as good a shape as this team, because when you think about it, the most dramatic and compelling TV probably comes from teams with more dysfunction, more problems, more conflicting personalities, and probably a team that is just plain not as good as a team that just won the Super Bowl. But I mean, they chose this team for a reason. Like they wanted the Seahawks, so clearly they think there's something. Now, again, I couldn't really begin to speculate on what's going to be the primary plot lines of this year's Hard Knocks. I don't know exactly who they're going to latch onto. Maybe a player like an Andre Fuller that is trying to probably battle Nehemiah Pritchett for a roster spot. Possibly somebody like an Emmanuel Wilson battling for a roster spot because his I don't believe his position on this team is set in stone. Maybe you're going to see something with Milrow because there's a lot of intrigue around him. Is he going to start making strides forward to justify his spot with the this team in the future? Stuff like that, I guess I would assume, but we don't have any obvious big drama guys. We don't have a Richie Incognito or a Chad Ochocinco or somebody with that big kind of distracting and very boisterous and in your face personality that is just going to hog the cameras by default. I don't feel like we have that guy. Maybe Devin Witherspoon on the field is a very verbal guy, but off the field, I don't get the sense that he's like some big, um, dramatic personality that wants the spotlight and the attention. Same with a guy like a JSN. I don't even know if he's that loud on the field, but off the field, I don't know who that guy would be on this team. I don't know who the guy is that would be like the big guy who beats his chest and does a lot of look at me, look at me, look at me stuff. So interested to see who they end up latching onto, if there are any of like the big players. Maybe we'll get some inside info on the contract stuff going on with guys like Devin Witherspoon and Leonard Williams, because those are two guys that are presumably going to get new contracts sometime in the next few weeks. And maybe we'll get some insight into that. Maybe we'll get some indication of how that's going. Maybe we'll learn a little bit about Aiden Dirty, or yeah, I think it's Aiden Dirty. Every time I say his name, I get comments in my video telling me that it's the other thing, but I don't know. You guys know who I'm talking about. But Aiden Dirty, maybe we'll get some indication of him, how his development's going, because there's a very good chance that he will be a head coach next year. So he's obviously not doing play calling, but his ability to continue to learn under Mike Macdonald is very crucial, because at this point, I don't think there's much getting around it. He's going to be a head coach in the next couple years. The only thing that could prevent it is just nobody actually firing their current coaches, or their current coaches just staying on forever, which that never happens. And other than that, I do want to see how much this team appreciates this. And again, on some level, I know that this team probably doesn't appreciate Hard Knocks. I know the team doesn't. The coaches don't. I don't think those guys really like having a camera crew involved in their training camp, possibly giving out more information than they normally would. I don't think any team appreciates that. I think some teams maybe realize it doesn't really matter that much. We don't have super high expectations this year anyway. Some coaches might like the drama, but I seriously doubt Mike Macdonald or John Schneider likes having this camera crew in here for training camp. Now, the good news is it's training camp, not the regular season. But I am interested to see how they maybe respond to that. The fact that they have been chosen here and ended up needing to participate in this, even though they presumably would prefer not to. And that's another good reason why I do recommend that everybody watch this stuff, because it's probably never going to happen again. There are 32 NFL teams, and the Seahawks are just one of those 32 teams. I don't think we're going to be picked for Hard Knocks again anytime soon, not because we just got picked, but because I think that short of this team winning the Super Bowl, there's not going to be a lot of national intrigue and interest in seeing the inner workings of our team on a, you know, global level where you have fans of every team who wants to see this stuff. The same way you would with a team like the Dallas Cowboys. So this is going to be interesting. My plan, by the way, is to watch the episodes. I believe they premiere in the evening, so pretty late. So the episode drops 9 p.m. I'll watch it, and then probably the next morning, I'll have a video up talking about whatever we see in the episode. Hopefully, we actually get some interesting stuff. Obviously, I can't show the episode on my videos because, I don't think I need to explain that one. But I do plan on talking about whatever it is we see if we can latch onto any intriguing info, or maybe we're just following along soap opera storylines. Nevertheless, I'm going to check it out because, again, this may never happen again. Or at least it won't happen again for a long time, because that is the nature of a show like this. And quite frankly, while I think that there are some people in this organization that will appreciate doing it once will be enough. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you guys think. Hard Knocks premiering August 4th, getting a little bit of an early start. So set your calendars and follow along.